Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Tarryn, the traveling trainer here in the greater Atlanta area of GoTarryn Personal Training, and I've got a treat for you today. Today we're going to be interviewing a new guest for the very first time here on GoTarryn TV, the lovely, beautiful Dr. Kristina Price. She's the medical director of Opal Aesthetics. I'm going to tell you about Dr. Price here momentarily. First and foremost, if you'd please be so kind, if you are not already, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And while you're watching the interview with Dr. Price, if you could please make sure to like the video, leave us a comment, and share it with your social media. Now let's talk about Dr. Price and Opal Aesthetics. She's got the most beautiful, lovely, glamorous, gorgeous team over at Opal Aesthetics in the greater Atlanta area, and I'm going to talk to her about that. I'm going to ask her about her team. I'm going to talk to her about the services that they provide, her passion, and we're going to learn and get to know Dr. Price and how she got into this industry in the first place. So I'm really intrigued, excited, and we're going to be getting into that here momentarily. So when we return, again, we're going to have Dr. Price of Opal Aesthetics. And in the meantime, remember that GoTarryn Personal Training is your time, your investment in your life. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see side by side, we are welcoming the medical director of Opal Aesthetics right here in the greater Atlanta area. And here she is. This is Dr. Kristina Price. Dr. Price, how are you doing today?
Hi, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. Much better now that I have you here. It's a pleasure to have you. We got to meet you in person, of course, on another weblog show with Diane Chapman on Direct Talk. Previously to that, I think we did an audio interview with you maybe a couple of months prior and all that. So it's been since last year since we got to see each other, and I'm so excited we've got you on our weblog show today. So since this is the first time you and I are speaking, before we get into Opal Aesthetics, I wanted to ask you, Dr. Price, if you could please tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you ended up here in the greater Atlanta area, please.
Sure. Well, that's an easy one because I was actually born and raised here.
Okay.
So I was born in Atlanta, and I've kind of stuck to the South my entire life. I went off to college at University of Virginia, and then I found myself back in Atlanta for medical school, and actually in residency too. And
Nice.
then I went off to Duke for fellowship. So I've kind of just stuck to the South my whole life.
Very good. Excellent. So you're a Southern girl. You're a Southern peach then here in Atlanta.
I don't have an accent, though. It's kind of neutral. That's the one thing. Everybody says, oh, you were born and raised here, and they always think I'm from the North. I kind of talk a little fast. My mom's from Queens, so.
That explains it. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Because I wouldn't have guessed that. I was under the assumption I thought you were from somewhere up north as well. So that's good. So you stayed down here. And where mostly, if you don't mind me asking specifically in Atlanta, did you, around the Buckhead area or?
Yeah, Dunwoody. I grew up in Dunwoody, went to Dunwoody High School.
Okay.
Graduated class of 92.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and what's neat is most of my friends still live here. So we've been friends since probably first or second grade. And most of my really good girlfriends moved back to Atlanta after college or after a brief stint somewhere else. So we kind of have our little posse here in Atlanta still.
That's excellent. That's great. And at University of Virginia, what did you major in?
So I was biochemistry.
Wow. Okay. And did you always know that you wanted to be in aesthetics? Was that the passion that you pretty much followed?
Well, I mean, I had a creative side. So growing up, I was really interested in dance and art and things like that. But, I'm left-handed, so I had this left-right brain competition thing going on. And I'm also very analytical. So I followed my science side into chemistry. And when I graduated, I actually worked in a lab for 2 years, a neuroendocrinology lab. So nothing to do with medicine per se, sort of the before medicine, if you will. But then I realized that I was a bit more of a people person and needed more interaction. So I didn't really know what to do with my degree after that. So I kind of did a little bit of soul searching. I traveled for about a year. In Southeast Asia, and then I wound up in LA for a little while, and then I came back to Atlanta and started med school. So it was a roundabout path, but aesthetics brought in my artistic creative side, so that's kind of where I wound up, or why I wound up in aesthetics.
That's so cool how that happened. Where in Southeast Asia did you spend some time?
Yeah, I was over there for about 3.5 months. I went to Indonesia and Malaysia, and Thailand briefly. So it was a neat experience. It was
That's
really cool.
Yeah, that's excellent. Wow. And then LA, you said, how long were you out on the West Coast for about?
Just about 10 months.
All
I
right.
don't know if I could handle more than that. It was a great experience, but yeah, I was just waiting tables and, doing not much of anything. And then I decided, okay, I need to put my degree to good work, and medicine was it. My brother was in medical school in Atlanta, well, not Atlanta, but Medical College of Georgia,
Oh,
so
okay.
Augusta. And I did a few visits with him and said, this is really cool. I think I'm going to go for it. And here I am.
That's awesome. And so, can you talk us through the medical schooling and the residency? How was that? I imagine, I know that was pretty challenging.
Yeah, it was, but it was a really neat time of my life. I
Hmm.
actually loved it because I didn't go straight through. I think a lot of people that go, high school, college, and even some of those shortened programs, which are like, 3 and 3, 3 years college, 3 years med school. I sort of took the more circuitous route, if you will. And I was ready. I was so ready for it. I loved it. I loved the learning. It was just really cool. And, my class, we were really unique. We were very close. There was a little over 100 people in my class, and we did everything together. And it was a blast. I loved it.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Excellent. And so, can you tell us now, Dr. Price? Let me ask you this. So, we're transitioning into Opal Aesthetics, and we're going to get all the information for it as well. And can you tell us about the journey from the time that we're post graduating school now and then entering into that side of Opal Aesthetics? How did that whole bridge happen and that whole journey into where you're at currently as being the medical director there?
Sure. Well, I think in medical school, you sort of first figure out if you want to be a surgeon
Hmm.
or a non-surgeon. You
Okay.
either like the OR or you don't.
Hmm.
I loved the operating room. I knew I had to use my hands. I had to be a surgeon. But I liked tiny, refined surgery. So it was either
Wow.
vascular surgery, e.g., no life, or ophthalmology. So actually what a lot of people don't know is that even though I'm medical director of Opal Aesthetics, which does a lot of facial work and injectables and lasers and things, it's actually ophthalmology that I did my residency in. So it was very tiny, fine surgery on the eye.
Wow.
And then I discovered there was a field called oculoplastics, which deals with the bones and the structures like lids and eyebrows and all of that around the eye. And I thought, what a perfect field to combine my artistic creative side with my medical side. So that's what I did. I did a fellowship in oculoplastics or facial plastics. And then now I practice. And in the facial plastics fellowship, specifically at Duke, has a really strong cosmetic component to the fellowship. So you get a lot of training in aesthetics, a lot of dermatology just by default.
Hmm.
And so I got to learn all about injectables and lasers and everything like that. It was really fun.
That's excellent. Now, how long have you been there at Opal Aesthetics here?
So I joined Georgia Eye Partners, which
Hmm.
is big eye group, ophthalmology group, 6 years ago.
Okay.
And then we decided to open Opal Aesthetics 4 years ago. So 4 years total.
That's excellent. That's great. Yes. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video blog, I've been out there, it was last year, about 3 months or so, and came to visit in person. And one of the most refreshing, impressive things that I got to find personally was how just personable and professional and courteous your staff is. Everyone that works there is just great. How did you find and build a wonderful team that you have?
Well, they are. They're fantastic. And I think we kind of have the mom and pop mentality. And we're really close and we work really hard together to make the client experience the best it can be. And everybody has a great attitude. So it's just a lot of fun. It's easy.
Well,
It's fun to go to work every morning.
no, that's excellent. Yeah, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more on that. And it was so funny because when I was telling everybody about the experience of going there in person, the people that I told about, you got to check out Opal Aesthetics. I said, I've never been somewhere with so many beautiful women walking around. Everybody there, including yourself, you all look like Barbie dolls. I said, everyone looks
Thank
perfect.
you.
No, I'm serious. And it's obvious because it's what you guys do. And that was a lot of fun because we came out and did a direct talk show with Di. She was doing the Botox, and
Yeah.
of course, I got out of that one on a pass.
I almost got you.
Yeah, that was
Botox.
close. Right, exactly. And
Then we realized you're too young to have wrinkles, so we kind of let you off.
Well, I don't know. I think you and I were about the same age, but I think in that case, that was because, which I didn't know, but I was telling you that I had to do some boot camp exercises later that evening, and you had said, no, then we don't want you jumping or ripping around. So that was enlightening for me. So I guess to enlighten everyone else out there, and tell us, if you could please, about the services that you provide at Opal Aesthetics, and I guess just give us a comprehensive full, if nobody's ever seen it and is learning about the company for the first time, what could they expect with the different services that you guys provide there?
Sure. Well, we're both surgical and non-surgical. So I think that's the two big categories. The surgical is sort of what I was referring to before, is the oculoplastic side of things. So we do lid lifts, brow lifts, mid-face lift. And then there's a reconstructive component to that. So fractures around the bones, orbital fractures. We also deal with the tear drainage system. So anything that's kind of located around the eyes, we do surgery. So that's that component. And then the non-surgical options are all of the aesthetic stuff like fillers, which are injectables, things that you inject into the face to, say, lift or smooth out fine lines and folds. And then, of course, Botox. That's one of our staples. I have two estheticians, and they do a lot of facial lasers, actually face, neck, and chest very, very frequently. We also treat veins and pigment and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
That's excellent. And tell us, Dr. Price, if you could, please, about the staff now. If they're watching by chance, let's tell them hi. And can you tell everybody out there maybe just a few things about each of the staff that works with you, please, their name and your impression of them?
Absolutely. So Lauren Botto is our manager, and she is fantastic. You can find her literally in any room at any given time. Is always trying to make the patient experience or the client experience the best it can be.
Oh, that's good.
So she helps with everything, check-in, check-out, all of that. And then I've got my assistants, and Brittany Powell has been with me for the entire, well, almost, not quite 6 years, but she's working on that 6th year coming up. So she's been with me forever. I actually stole Brittany from Jacksonville, Florida.
I remember that story.
Yeah, I recruited her up here, and she's fantastic. So I keep having to give her things on the side and pay her more because she threatens me with going back to Jacksonville every once in a while, and I won't let her go. My patients love her, so hopefully she's long-term forever. And then we just hired Amanda Enlow, and she is absolutely fantastic. She's so dynamic. She has an ophthalmology background and a marketing background and physician training background. So she's kind of got all of this wonderful knowledge all in one person to help bring to Opal Aesthetics and help us with our patients, and we just love her so far. She joined us in December.
Nice.
And then Judy Paredes is our primary esthetician, and she's part-time, but I feel like she's full-time because she works so hard and is always just helping out with everything. She does all of our lasers for the most part. And she does facials and microdermabrasions and other things like that as well. She's fantastic. And she is the person that basically makes everyone look beautiful. She does a whole care regimen, and she'll tell you exactly what you need and don't need. And she is not a fluffy type of esthetician, meaning she is very medically oriented, wants results, and she will tell you, she can be blunt, but in a very nice way. She will tell you what you need to get you looking good. Oh. So she's awesome. Then our other esthetician, Tessa Bell, she's actually a doctor of chiropractic, nice. Which is really neat, Dr. Bell, and she's with us part-time as well. More sporadic. We kind of work around her schedule. She's fantastic. She loves aesthetics, so and she joined us in the fall. And then we have Wendy Barber, who is our amazing surgical coordinator, and she deals with all of the surgical signups and the insurance. She has the hardest job, I think, of all of us. Way harder than my job. Way. She asked me if we could switch salaries. I don't know about that one, but we'll see.
That's very good. Excellent. Did we cover all this? Is there, yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't want to cut you off.
Tamika Winston. Tamika is our newest addition to the front desk, and she's the first face you see and the first person that answers the phone. And she is she's wonderful. She's so fantastic. She's a wealth of knowledge, and my patients love to speak to her because every question they have, she can answer. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, good team. Great team.
Yeah, again, I think that's one of the biggest things that I was impressed by. It left a huge impression on me, and you've got a really well-oiled working machine there, definitely. It's all about team. And let me ask you this, Dr. Price. So, and we're going to get the website. We're going to get everybody out there to check it out at the end here, and so that way they have it. But for the people who haven't been to your clinic and haven't done any of the services, or let's say they've never been to an aesthetic place before, can you talk us through? I went on the website, and I was very impressed also with the aesthetic gallery and the surgical gallery. Can you talk us? Is there anything else that you wanted to touch upon that we haven't talked about yet and address, and just kind of reiterate to the folks out there what they could expect with the aesthetic and the surgical part at the Opal Aesthetics?
Sure. You mean like how they get appointments?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. How does that process work?
Yeah, so they can go online for sure and fill out the patient forms that way. We also are on social media, so they can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. Certainly they can call. Like I said, Tamika is wonderful with helping them with any of their questions they may have.
Yeah.
And she can also go into a bit of detail if they don't quite understand what a procedure is or what's happening from the website. Tamika, like I said, is just fantastic with answering those questions. And if there's something that stumps her, she'll direct the client or the patient to my assistant, Brittany. And if that fails, then certainly to me. And I'm very available. I actually give my cell phone number out to all of my patients, my clients. And I've never had a problem with doing that. So I intend to do that for the rest of my time practicing.
Very, very good. Yeah, absolutely. Very accessible and approachable, and that's amazing. And as far as the and we're going to get back to that. I promised everyone we're going to get the information, but I wanted to ask you about this too, Dr. Price. The Dancing of the Stars of Atlanta. So we have a connection mutually. Asia Hostaneva, if she's watching, from Valio Club, and so. I guess a couple of questions here. Are you going to be participating in that this year? And can you tell the folks out there about that as well?
Absolutely. So last year I actually was one of the star dancers. It is an annual fundraising benefit for the Alzheimer's Association.
Yes.
And this year it will be the 8th year. Okay. And last year I was a star dancer, and that was a wonderful experience, life-changing. This year, thankfully, because it is very stressful, I am not a dancer. I am co-chair of the Mirror Ball Society, however.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Which is kind of a networking and social kind of club, if you will. Once you've been a dancer or one of the professional dancers, such as Asya, then you're automatically part of this Mirror Ball Society.
Oh, neat.
And
okay.
It's just to spread awareness about Alzheimer's and really just the profound devastation that it can cause for not only the person that has Alzheimer's, but for the families that are, going through all of the caretaking, and they need a lot of support as well. So we raise money not just for the science to cure this horrible disease, but also to provide support services to the families. So Asya and I have been involved. Asya has actually been involved for several years as a professional dancer, and she is by far the best. Oh my gosh, I just adore her. She is so phenomenal, and she helped me through all of the stress of last year. That was great. Yeah, I mean, it's just a wonderful experience. I actually have two colleagues that are doing it this year, Dr. Rob Stoltz, who is at Georgia Retina, and Dr. Farzana Varani, who is an optometrist.
Oh, very good.
So they are both one of the star dancers for this upcoming year, which is on May 6th. So if you have nothing to do, please come out and show your support.
Perfect. Yes. May 6th, so they don't want to miss that. And where's that going to be at, too, Dr. Price?
It's at the Cobb Galleria again this year.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, wonderful. Excellent. Very good. I'm glad that I got to ask you about that before I forgot. Let's get back to Opal Aesthetics for a second here. Let me ask you a few more things about Opal Aesthetics too, because I wanted to get this across. But what would you say if I had asked you what you find most rewarding about what you currently do, and you're doing this as your career as a living? What Opal Aesthetics provides you in a rewarding way?
Yeah, I think just the patient interactions and being able to provide them with either something that's a reconstructive service or just even something aesthetic where their self-esteem is boosted. You really can change people's lives and impact their lives. And that's by far the most rewarding thing. And I love getting up each and every day and going to work because I know that that's what I have to look forward to.
Excellent. And in this profession, on the flip side of the coin, what would you say would be the most challenging or hardest part of what you do for a living?
I don't know if I should say. No. It's probably going to be pretty obvious, but it's part of my field. So, excuse me. In aesthetics, you deal with a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that so much. I know that can be frustrating for a lot of people, but I'm good at that. So I can handle it, but that probably is, you get the high maintenance aspect to things and all of that. But you know what? That's part of the biz. So if you can't handle that, then you're in the wrong business.
Absolutely. I was impressed in person. I got to see you demonstrate the Kybella injections on one of the staff there. Your hands were like they weren't moving at all. There's no way I could do it. Absolutely no way. I mean, I would be like this, like shaking, and I couldn't do it. So I'm very impressed. And that's one of the things, Kybella, of course, they can check that out, I'm sure, on the website. And also I wanted to mention they could check out your blogs as well. A couple more questions before we plug those two, Dr. Price. Let me ask you, what is your vision of the next, let's say, long-term 5-10 years for Opal Aesthetics and for yourself in this industry?
Sure. Well, we're actually hoping to expand.
Very good.
Yeah. So there may be another whole center, Opal Aesthetics Center, which is certainly within the next five years. That's a goal of mine. Expand our aesthetic services, have more estheticians. We're thinking about bringing in Cool Sculpt for all of you people that already know what that is. I'm super excited just on a personal level to have something like Cool Sculpt. I think all my girls in my aesthetic center are going to be demoing that right away. But yeah, so we're definitely hoping to expand in the next 5 years.
Perfect. And then what about immediately in the next, let's say 6 months to a year for 2017? What are some of the short-term goals entail here?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking to improve things. I think, one of our number one things is always putting the client first and trying to make it just an exceptional experience for them. So on a weekly basis, we meet and we go over all the things that, could possibly make that better for a client. So it's a work in progress, but I think for 2017, we really want to get that perfect.
Yeah, certainly. And I could attest this too, because I've been there. I've seen it in person. Just like you said, the staff, you're treated very nicely when you go visit Opal Aesthetics. And also, it goes with what you said earlier and on your website that you definitely take your patients' number one priority at first place. And I'm impressed by that. I can learn a lot for my own kind of quality management on customer service with my clients that I train from you guys, because you guys do it right. So let's now get to Opal Aesthetics, the website, location, address, phone number, email, social media, and all that. Can you go ahead and please tell the folks how do they find out about Opal Aesthetics and where's it located?
Yes. So you can go to our website, which is www.opalatlanta.com. Our main location is in Sandy Springs, and it's 1100 Johnson Ferry Road, Northeast. That's key right there, because if you do your little GPS and you don't put Northeast, you're going to Marietta. It's Suite 105, and it's Atlanta, Georgia, 30342. The phone number, 404-953-4023. And then you can follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. And my personal email is drprice@opalatlanta.com.
Wonderful. Very good, Dr. Price. Excellent. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this video interview with you. I can't say enough. I think that you and your team are like I said earlier, the most beautiful and talented folks that I've interviewed here thus far. So this has been a pleasure, and I'm hoping you'll take me up on the offer to bring you back on for more future recurring video blogs. And in fact, as we get closer to, you reminded me for the Dancing of the Stars in May coming up, I definitely want to follow up with you and see what, how that's going, and if there's any way you want to promote that as well too. So that'll be good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tarryn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dr. Price. And again, I'm sorry to hear, I know you're relieved, but I was hoping you were going to be dancing out there on the floor again. Any chance that they'll be able to catch you doing that maybe? That
was very stressful. I loved it, don't get me wrong, but woo! And they dress you kind of skimpily like they do on the Dancing with the Stars in the show on the TV. So I think I'll pass, but I'm definitely gonna go, and I'm gonna do my best cheerleading for my colleagues that are in the show this year.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I'll have to check that out myself too. Maybe I'll ask Di and see and follow up. Maybe we could bring our camcorder there and record there too. That'd be cool.
You should get Di to do it next year.
We need
See,
to.
the wheels are spinning because I also recruit people for this.
Shoot.
Or you, Tarryn. They need more attention. The ladies are easy to get to do the dancing, but the men, they put up a fight.
Yeah, I don't know. I might have to do the Brotox before I do that. We'll see. But Dr. Price, seriously, I need to come out there and do that, and I do have a rain check on that, so I'll be out there for sure to check that out. But thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it. We're going to have the website information and your contact info on the screen here when we fade to black. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of this weird, wintry Atlanta weather that we're having.
I know. Thank you. You too. Stay warm.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Price. Have a great day. And folks, we fade to black. Here comes Opal Aesthetics contact info.
Thank you.